Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description to find local, verified solar experts, community projects and heat pump specialists in your area. And by you. Support the channel today and help us remain 100% independent. Welcome back to another episode of TEN, Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. We start today's show in the US, where Consumer Reports has released the results of its latest survey into public EV charging station reliability. It asked 1,230 EV and plug-in hybrid owners in the US about their public charging experiences, and the results were telling. At the top of the list for overall reliability were Tesla and Rivian, with only 4 and 5% of charging sessions with those networks respectively having problems. At the bottom of the list were Blink, EVgo and Shell Recharge, with 41, 43 and 48% of respective sessions facing problems. It's well worth noting that overall, 79% of charging sessions reported by respondents had no issues at all, but when it came to sessions that were unsuccessful, hardware faults, vandalism, payment issues and poor charging speed ranked highly. Talking of charging, but in a completely different way, BYD has officially unveiled details of its first megawatt charging system for EVs, something it's calling its Super E platform. Reducing charging times by increasing charging station power has always been a big goal of automakers, and today's charging champs, complete with 350 kilowatt fast charging, can add around 11 or 12 miles of range per minute. But that's blown out of the water by BYD's newest platform, which it claims can add 249 miles, 400 kilometres of range in just 5 minutes, utilising a 1,000-volt battery pack capable of charging at up to 1,000 amps, or if you prefer, 10C. BYD says that it plans on building 4,000 ultra-fast charging stations across China this year, capable of 1 megawatt charging speeds, and its two newest models, the Han L and Tang L EVs, already support this ultra-fast charging speed. A few months ago, we stopped covering Tesla and its CEO due to controversial statements and actions. However, this week, given the numerous stories involving the company and some targeted trolling in our comments, we decided to include a brief roundup. There have been targeted attacks on Tesla superchargers and stores this week where vehicles and charging stations have been destroyed and vandalised. The US government this week called that domestic terrorism. Meanwhile, an online hacker group claims to have hacked Tesla servers and is now actively doxing Tesla owners. We do not condone violence or vandalism, although we do encourage viewers who wish to peacefully protest Tesla and Elon Musk's actions to do so peacefully. As Tesla stock tanked due to protest selling this week, the US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick publicly told viewers to buy Tesla stock on Fox News, likely violating conflict of interest laws. The Financial Times also published a report this week that claims Tesla's accounting last year was inaccurate, with $1.4 billion in missing assets. Finally, a German poll into attitudes towards buying another Tesla, a poll which showed 94% of German respondents wouldn't buy another Tesla, suddenly received 250,000 positive votes from 2 IP addresses in the US in just a few hours after Tesla's CEO posted about it. The poll was subsequently ended early. Despite today's reporting, we intend to continue our previous editorial policy on Tesla, except in exceptional circumstances. As soon as Renault confirmed it would be bringing the Renault 5 back as an all-electric model, we've been eagerly awaiting the inevitable turbo variant. Those who grew up in the 1980s in Europe will know of the legendary status of the Renault 5 Turbo on the rally course, and of course its subsequent production hot hatch variant you could buy. And while the term turbo is a bit of a misnomer in the EV age, Renault has confirmed that following a tease last year of a concept Renault 5 Turbo, It will bring the Renault 5 Turbo 3e to market in 2027 as a limited production super hot hatch. With an 800-volt battery pack, there's a 350 kilowatt DC fast charging capability, as well as twin rear in-wheel motors for 400 kilowatts at the wheels. And this means the Renault 5 Turbo 3e is going to be a collector's car. That and the fact that only 1,980 units will be made available, a tribute to the year in which the original Renault 5 Turbo debuted. We can't expect any of these vehicle refinements in regular production Renault 5s, but I can honestly say this is a halo car I can truly get behind. While the majority of GM brands pulled out of right-hand drive markets nearly a decade ago, Cadillac has been a bit of an outlier, with strong sales in a handful of countries where people drive on the left, not the right. You've been able to get the Cadillac Lyriq and Lyriq V in some markets now for some time, and this week Cadillac confirmed 2 new models getting the right-hand drive treatment. The Optiq and Vistiq, officially unveiled in Tokyo, Japan, right-hand drive variants of both models will launch in Australia and Aotearoa, New Zealand next year. For Cadillac, which has a growing market in both countries, the introduction of the Vistiq will be quite interesting, as there aren't that many 7-seat EVs in either of those markets right now. We don't have pricing or launch details yet, but they are said to be coming closer to their official launch. Oh, and if you are in other right-hand drive markets, I'm afraid we don't know if either of those models will be coming to you. Watch this space, and I will of course let you know if that changes. The US is quite the metaphorical car crash right now, both in terms of what's happening on Capitol Hill, but also in what's happening in the auto industry. This week, a new study by the Repeat Project out of Princeton University issued a scathing verdict on plans by the US federal government to eliminate all tax credits for EVs and clean energy projects. In short, it warns the resulting drop in demand will dramatically harm EV adoption among some groups, but also endanger manufacturing jobs within the US. While politicians, especially the current US president, like to clump manufacturing together as one entity, it's worth noting that producing EV batteries require a particular set of skills that are very different to those used in a traditional automotive manufacturing setup. According to this report, EV demand is expected to decrease 30% by 2027 and nearly 40% by 2030 if those changes happen, which will slash EV market share. Additionally, the report says that the largest impacts of this change will be felt in traditionally Republican-leaning states where the majority of new EV factories currently exist. The US federal government may be continuing to target any attempts to make our society fairer and more equitable, but last week Toyota and EVgo announced the start of a new initiative designed to do that in the EV world. As we've covered plenty on this channel before, EV charging provision to date around the world has been anything but equitable, with many companies outright avoiding traditionally disenfranchised communities, often communities of colour, when installing new charging infrastructure. But as Toyota becomes surprisingly pro-EV, it's eager to ensure that everyone can drive electric. Its newest project with EVgo has seen fast charging stations deployed in neighbourhoods in Baldwin Park and Sacramento in California, neighbourhoods with high numbers of multifamily dwellings and restricted off-street parking. This isn't the first time EVgo has been involved in such projects. It's done similar things with GM in the past, but it is good to see more charging stations installed in communities that need them to enable them to accelerate the transition to electric. A common myth used to criticise electric vehicles is that batteries can't be recycled and end up in a landfill, a myth that we have busted so many times on this channel. EV battery packs are, as we've covered plenty, becoming easier and easier to recycle, and this week a team of researchers in China published details of a new NCM battery recycling process that they claim can extract 99.99% of all lithium, 97% of the nickel, 92% of the cobalt and 91% of the manganese in an NCM EV battery pack. Unlike traditional recycling methods, which use quite strong amino acids to leach out constituent parts for recycling, the new method uses what the team is calling a quote-unquote neutral leaching process. This process does use amino acids too, but I understand they're less complex, more environmentally responsible, and could help increase recycling throughput at facilities as it's quicker than traditional battery recycling methods. While it's still only in lab stages, if this can be commercialised, it could be quite the breakthrough. If you've been paying attention to EV sales figures in the past few years, you might know that while some automakers had a great year last year, some didn't. This week, new sales data comparisons showed just how large the distance between the firms that did well and those that didn't was, highlighting that last year BMW sold more electric vehicles than its rival premium German cohorts Audi and Mercedes-Benz combined. BMW sold nearly 368,500 EVs last year, and that's excluding its Mini and Rolls-Royce marques, while Mercedes-Benz only managed a shade over 185,000 and Audi managed 164,000. With BMW heavily leaning into its next generation platform, this year is looking like a good one for the brand, and having driven BMW's latest models, I can attest they're pretty good. And finally for the segment, some more good news. Namely that if we all just put solar panels on the roofs of our homes and offices, we'd be living far more sustainably. Obviously, I'm going to assume that you already knew that solar panels can help reduce our reliance on fossil fuels, but a new study from the University of Sussex in the UK has laid it out very clearly. Taking in satellite data from around the planet, it uses sophisticated processing to determine that right now, in 2025, if we put solar panels on every roof that could actually accommodate them, we could eliminate all current fossil fuel electricity generation, reducing global temperatures by 0.13 of a degree Celsius. In addition, the study found that this dramatic adoption of solar would also mean it would account for 2/3 of global electrical demand, with the final third met by other renewable sources of generation. Now, wouldn't that be a nice world to live in? And if you are in the US, and you would like to do your bit to help bring about that future, why not check out one of today's video sponsors, Energy Sage. Energy Sage helps homeowners connect with local, verified solar installers across the US and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels, help you join a community solar program, or get a heat pump installed. We used Energy Sage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our Energy Sage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. Follow the links below to sign up for either of Energy Sage's free, no-obligation services and get that ball rolling today. If you choose to use an Energy Sage installer for your project, we will also get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping us out too. Help the grid get greener, save money, and support the channel? It's a win-win-win. And now it's time for our news shorts. Tesla has recalled all Cybertrucks made to date to address an issue with exterior trim panels falling off their vehicles. It follows a hold quietly on the sale of new vehicles put in place last week. Approximately 40,000 examples are involved. Mercedes-Benz has recalled its EQE and EQE SUV models in the US to address a potential problem on the wheel rim inserts on some trim levels that could, under certain circumstances, suddenly detach, posing a hazard to other road users. Volkswagen has introduced a $5,000 retail customer bonus deal on all trim levels of the ID.4 in the US for the current model year. The discount is only available when paying cash or financing at a non-special deal rate. Scottish energy company Trojan Energy announced a deal with Camden Council in London, which will see them add 570 charge points to the region's roads. They're unique because they're flush with the pavement when not in use, which makes them less prone to accidental damage and vandalism. Staying with the Greater London area, new data released by the City of London shows that since the UK's capital city expanded its ultra-low emission zone to actually include Greater London, air quality in the region has dramatically improved. Who knew? The University of Michigan has announced that it plans on building a new battery research and development facility at its Ann Arbor campus. The facility will focus on designing, building and testing next-generation EV batteries. Mitsubishi Motors is reportedly looking to Foxconn to help it bring new EVs to market. While part of an alliance with Nissan and Renault, increasing tensions with its partner firms means that it's looking for alternative EV production plans. After 3 years, the IDEAL research project in Germany has ended, with researchers sharing a new laser-based drying process for electrode material during cell production. Surpassing current techniques, it will help slash cell production costs. UK firm Ampeco has partnered with Kiwi firm Singer Electric to provide it with EV charging station management to allow Stinger to build its own EV network for Aotearoa, New Zealand. Singer Electric claims that it will have the largest managed EV charging network for businesses in the country. Leapmotor has opened the UK order books for its T03 and C10 electric cars. 44 dealerships are already established for the brand, with over 80 planned by year's end. T03 prices start at under £16,000 sterling on the road. Volvo Trucks Open Charge commercial customers can now book charging stations in advance to ensure more predictable and freight route timing and less time wasted on the road. Swedish firms Arla and ADFDS will get to use the service first. Battery materials specialist Vianode announced its first recycled graphite product for the EV battery industry. Developed through its own in-house battery recycling processes, the material is suitable for battery and non-battery manufacturing uses. Nissan and Stena Recycling have announced a new partnership into Second Life battery projects. With more than 80,000 Nissan Leafs sold in Norway to date, Stena Recycling, based in Norway, will have a steady stream of batteries for use in its projects. XPeng showcased its fourth quarter and year-end 2024 financials this week, with its final quarter of last year showing its highest revenue and lowest losses to date. It's yet to post a profit, but it's closer than it's ever been to doing so. Bentley has yet to make any electric models, but this week the brand took its first step in that direction, laying its first foundational stone for a new electric vehicle production facility at its headquarters in Crewe in the UK. Siemens has announced it will be closing down its Level 2 charging station business, focusing instead on developing fast charging stations for commercial use. It has plans to lay off more than 1/3 of its existing charging station staff. If you're in the US and want to get a good deal on a new car, Hertz Car Sales is now full swing in some pretty massive fire sales. Some of its former fleet, including Silverado EV work trucks that you're not normally able to buy, are available for massive discounts. The US government's new head of the EPA is full swing with his plans to gut the agency and roll back environmental protections. In addition to the measures I told you about last week, he said this week that he wants to, quote, drive a stake through the heart of climate change religion, end quote. Hardly protecting the environment now, is it? The European Union Commission has opened an official probe to examine if Chinese automaker BYD was given unfair subsidies by the government of China to establish new EV production facilities in Hungary. Watch this space. MG has given its MG4 EV a complete overhaul for the new model year, and it's not just a few nips and tucks as you would normally find for a mid-cycle refresh. There's a new improved motor and inverter and a slightly longer, completely redesigned body. Amidst rising global tensions, because honestly you don't want to know why I think it is, Chinese authorities have delayed BYD's approval for a new planned production facility that BYD wants to build in Mexico. Something USA? Rivian's CEO, RJ Scaringe, took to social media this week to tease some images of the upcoming Rivian R2 and its pre-production process. The image shared what looks to be a body in white of an R2 built with production-stamped panels. Stellantis is partnering with Swedish startup Lovely AB to explore flat-pack all-electric low-speed vehicles. Lovely's fully flat-packed EV design features 2 rechargeable, swappable battery modules. Stellantis believes it could be great for megacities. 24M has announced that the electrolyte it developed for use in lithium-metal battery packs has now been tested and certified for use with silicon and graphite-based battery packs. The electrolyte allows for faster charging rates than many of its competitors. Ford has officially begun volume production of 3 new models at its Romanian production facility. The Puma Gen E, e-Tourneo Courier and e-Transit Courier are all now rolling off the production line and onto dealer forecourts. Zeekr has launched its new Level 3 autonomous door-to-door technology in China. It also confirmed it's officially signed on as the first NVIDIA corporate customer to use its new Drive Thor next-gen SoC in an automotive application. Staying in China, tech giant Xiaomi, which wasn't even an automaker until the start of last year, has now celebrated reaching 200,000 sales of its SU7 since the start of this year. It has consequentially already increased its yearly delivery targets. BYD has confirmed that its highly popular Seagull electric car will be heading to Europe shortly, but rather than be called the BYD Seagull, the budget-oriented EV will be sold under a new name, the Dolphin Surf. It will start at around €26,000. And, despite the aforementioned EU Commission investigation, Reuters reports this week that BYD is seriously considering buying a third electric vehicle plant in Europe or building one, this time in Germany. It's not clear if the investigation will affect its plan. Audi has confirmed that it will be cutting 7,500 jobs across its workforce in Germany by 2029. Unlike its parent brand, Audi says it will not be closing any more EV or ICE production facilities. While Hertz in the US is trying to move away from EV rentals rapidly, Europcar is leaning into its EV service even more, announcing this week that from next month, UK business customers of the brand will be able to rent EVs for exactly the same price as comparable petrol or diesel rental vehicles. BMW has confirmed its all-new iX3 will be the first new model to be built on its next-generation EV platform. Known internally as the Neue Klasse platform, it will underpin a range of new models from BMW in the coming few years. CATL and NIO have announced a new partnership that will see the pair build what they're claiming will be the world's largest battery swapping network for EVs. It builds on a partnership announced last year, but this one will actually see them build out actual swap stations. A team of researchers in Europe are working on designing a new generation of battery cell chemistries that would allow battery cells to undergo some degree of self-repairing in the event of damage sustained to the cell during a light collision. As the US government prepares ever-increasingly ridiculous anti-environmental policies and enacts equally dumb tariffs, Honda is rumoured to be in talks with Toyota to buy future battery cells for US market EVs from Toyota's new US factories. And in a similar vein, SK On has just signed a new agreement with Nissan that will see SK On provide battery cells to Nissan for US market, US-made models in an attempt to also avoid those import tariffs. SK On already supplies many other OEMs, including Ford. BMW has confirmed its new electric 3 Series EV is undergoing final winter testing ahead of a planned reveal later this year for production next. Images teased online show a fairly conventional-looking BMW, but underneath it's all new class tech. And finally, for the news shorts, the federal law that allows California to grant EV owners access to its high-occupancy car share lanes, even if there's only one person in the vehicle, will end at the end of September. With no federal extension in mind, it's likely to end in its entirety, leaving California EV owners out of that one particular perk. And those are your news shorts. There will be more next week. Our final 2 news stories are next, but first, a word from one of our most important sponsors, you. Transport Evolved is, believe it or not, celebrating its 15th year this year, and we've worked hard to remain 100% independent during that time. But it's only been possible thanks to the kind donations of folks like you. We've never charged for our content, and we hope never to do so. But that means we operate on a business model that relies on the kind support of people who do like what we do. To say we run with a wafer-thin margin of operation would be a complete understatement, so if you are willing and able We would love to have your support using Patreon, YouTube, Bitcoin, or even Ko-fi. You can even send us old-fashioned checks. Like many YouTube channels, our YouTube ad revenue has dropped by more than 60% over the last few years, and YouTube is just about to put a whole load of new auto-inserted ads in our stream. And I'd really love to be able to give our hard-working team the raise they deserve, something I've been unable to do for quite some time. So this month we are offering a 25% discount off your first month of membership on all tiers at Patreon if you go to patreon.com and use March 2025 at checkout. I would really love to increase our monthly support by at least 5% from its current level, so if you are new to the channel, please consider supporting us. Thanks. And now it's time for those last two stories. It's been a rough couple of months for the electrical vertical takeoff and landing world, with not one but two of Germany's eVTOL companies going through some pretty tough times. But over in the US, eVTOL specialist Joby is having a far better time thanks to a new partnership between it and Virgin Atlantic. Announced midweek, the partnership will see Virgin Atlantic work alongside Delta and Joby to develop eVTOL air taxi services in the UK. Now, it's still early days and there's a long way to go, including finishing all of the airworthiness testing and commercial validation. But if everything goes according to plan, we actually could see some of the UK's most congested areas get eVTOL air taxi routes. Not only could it link major metropolitan areas together, but it could also make it quicker to get from, say, Heathrow Airport to Gatwick without needing to get stuck on the hell that is the M25 or M3. And finally, I suspect if you're watching this show, you're already interested in the benefits that electric vehicles can offer us, whether we are at work or at play. And in the last decade or so, we've seen a true explosion in the number of EVs being used for off-road and recreational use, from chonky e-bikes through to dedicated all-electric dirt bikes. And that's shifted into the professional world of motorsport too, resulting in more thrills and much less noise for fans and competitors alike. But just last weekend, the XGames, once a gold standard for extreme sports, announced its decision to ban electric motorcycles and e-bikes from its events. Its reason? Electric motorcycles and e-bikes don't fit with its focus of, quote, maintaining a level playing field, end quote. It is truly sad to see what was once a super important extreme sports event take this particular stance, but I think it shows one thing very clearly. People are afraid of EVs because they show up gasoline every single day. And on that note, we are done. As always, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They have been advocating for EVs since 1967, and they firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you who can help you make that switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. Plus, if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to myeva.org. And thanks to Energy Sage. Follow the links below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping you make that step towards energy self-sufficiency, either through solar panels on the roof of your home, by joining a community solar project, or by getting a heat pump installed. And of course, if you are someone who made your own transportation or energy greener this week, great job. Well done. If you'd like to support the channel directly, don't forget, as I noted earlier in the show, you can support us from $1.50 a month on Patreon, complete with that first month discount. Don't forget too that if you are in the greater Portland area and you need a video production team for your business, whatever it is, we are available for non-EV production work, so please give us a call. Don't forget too that we have swag you can buy over our swag store, and you can make one-off donations using Ko-fi, Bitcoin, or old-fashioned checks. We also now have a new Amazon affiliate program code you can use if you have to support Mr. Bezos. We don't like Amazon, but since Amazon allocates a percentage of its funds either to affiliates or its own bank account, we'd frankly rather it comes to us if you have to use that site. So link in the down below. You can find other content from us on our main channel and on Transport Evolved Take 2. We publish on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays on this channel, and you'll find us on Sundays over on Transport Evolved Take 2. To finish, remember that you are valid, you are loved, and you have a place in this world, even if you are among the thousands of people being targeted by a government for simply existing or having the wrong type of job. Know that it's okay not to be okay. It's also okay to be angry, scared, and wants to just curl up. But know that existence is resistance, and it makes it harder for hate to exist. So be inspirational, be yourself, be bold, do good. Don't let hatred win. Speak up, make good trouble. Make sure you can attend your local community town halls and become an active voice in your community if you want to change the way things are. And no, we are not going anywhere, however many threats are coming our way, and there have been many. Although I will admit right now, I'm not going to lie, we are very close to turning off our comments for good because, for the most part, the hateful sods who regularly comment and want to unalive us and regularly make threats about guns and shooting us and all kinds of horrible things don't contribute to our channel financially, and we would much rather use our brain power and our EQ to make the world better for everyone else, not deal with nasty trolls. So until next time, stay safe, regardless of your identity or who you love. Be an amazing ally, be kind, be that positive change you want to see in the world, and please, for the sake of everyone's future, don't let hate or ignorance win. As always, keep evolving.